Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, a typical security guard, and I want to welcome you to today's episode of the debrief. Today, we're going to talk about something that I think that we need to all be more honest about, and that is fear. Stay tuned. Hey guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to today's debrief. As always, if you're getting any benefit from the videos that we are uploading, please like, share, and subscribe. And please tell other security guards and professionals what we're doing here. We're trying to build a community, and there's no community without you guys. So we need more of you guys. Help us get closer to that 1,000 subscriber mark, because once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we can do so many things in terms of community here on YouTube, and I really want that. So please share our channel with other people. So let's talk about fear. I do not think that we are honest enough, or maybe I should just speak specifically for myself, right? I try to be as honest and transparent on this page and in life as possible. And there are days I work anywhere from 6 to 7 days a week. I put in about 74 hours I have scheduled for this week, and that's a pretty much normal week for me. And I would say that over 50% of the time I am scared. I'm not terrified to the point of not being able to do my job. I'm not scared to the point of not being able to approach or deal with or handle the things that come my way. But here's my favorite tagline: in Portland, there are so many factors that you have to think about. And one of the big problems, I don't want to say problems, but one of the big issues that I've been having to kind of wrestle with over the last couple of months, and specifically more so in the last couple of weeks, is my safety, my personal safety, up against the potential issues that I might run into with policy, right? With the thought process of the company that I work for, which I'm very happy with, and things legally. So that moral, legal, ethical, and policy viewpoint of what we do, right? So as I have sought out more training and looked into potentially like more classes to take, more instruction to get, you run into this weird bottleneck, right? The more you start to seek out information and training, the more you realize how deficient you are in information and training. And that creates a lot of anxiety. It really does. You know, there's this Jordan Belfort, that's the guy from The Wolf of Wall Street, right? So he talks about the levels of competency. There's unconsciously incompetent. Think about that. You are so unaware of how stupid you are. You don't even know what you don't know. And then you get into this idea of like learning and training, and then you become consciously incompetent. It's like you totally understand what you don't understand. And I think that I'm like at that point in firearms, in self-defense, in first aid. Like, I am clearly aware of how incompetent I am in terms of all that there is to know. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm an idiot. Like, I'm trying, I'm training, I'm working, I'm seeking out. But when you have kind of like these blinders ripped off of your eyes, it can be really anxiety inducing, because you're like, shit, like, man, I'm approaching 43. Like, you know, I've got injuries, like I've got all these issues, and this is what I have signed up for. And then knowing in Portland, like, the police for the most part aren't coming. Today we had a 911 call where someone had threatened to shoot me and shoot everybody in the store. This is someone that we have criminally trespassed and had arrested in the last 2 weeks. This person is extremely violent, and I placed the 911 call at 7:21, 7:24, and I will actually show you the phone call from my phone log, right? And the police showed up at 7:53. Placed it at 7:24, 7:21, 7:24, and the cops showed up at 7:53. 3. That's the reality, guys. That's the reality. I want to show you. I'm gonna edit in right here just some footage of the downtown area where I was patrolling on Tuesday night. This is typical. Okay. This is my reality, guys. Like that slow response time, being in an area that is just inundated with homeless people, with drug addicts. I mean, this is 180 degrees different from what I was doing before I moved to Portland. So, you know, guys, I didn't come fresh out of the military into this. I wasn't kicking doors in Afghanistan. I wasn't, you know, kicking doors in Iraq. Like, I worked on an airplane. I was an airplane mechanic. I did some weapons loading. I qualified with my M16 like once every 2 years, but all of this is so new to me, and I love it. I love it. But as I learn and I get into training, you just realize how much you don't know. So that next level from conscious incompetent is to become consciously competent. It's like, you know what to do, but you have to really, really focus on it. Like, you have to truly, like, just, there cannot be any outside, you know, distractions. You have to focus so hard. It's like when you first learn how to tie your shoes, or you first learn how to shoot a firearm, right? It's like you can do it, but you got to really focus on it. And that level where we all want to get to is that unconscious competency, where it's second nature, right? The way that we all walk into a room, the way that we open a door, that is unconscious competency. Like, you truly know how to do it. One thing that I am unconsciously competent at is public speaking, because I've been public speaking since high school. I was a professional DJ. I was in the pickup community for a couple of years for all my red pills out there, right? I can take any topic and I can talk about it for as long as I want with absolute ease. For the most part, I am unconsciously competent in public speaking, and that is where I want to get in de-escalation. That's where I want to get with my firearms knowledge, so on and so forth. So all of that being said, we're talking about fear. What do we do with that fear? And I thought that I would actually ask a friend of mine from Missouri named Marcel Blake. Now, Marcel is actually I think he's a Marine, right? You know what? I'm going to let him tell you what he is. Here's his information on who he is and what he did in the military. Take it away.
Marcel Blake, Sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. My MOSs that I've carried have been as a combat engineer, breaching specialist, as well as I've served in the infantry for the last 4 years as an anti-tank missileman, leader of a anti-armor and tank section.
Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to bring him on is I wanted him to talk about how he dealt with fear and anxiety. Guys, he's got multiple tours overseas, and this guy was in the thick of the shit. And I talked to him, and I asked him, I said, how did you deal with anxiety when you were in theater, when you were in Afghanistan? How did you handle that? And this is what he said. I found this interesting. Check this out.
So the biggest thing I've learned with my time of dealing with anxiety and panic in high stress situations or high stress moments is you have to realize that those emotions are real, that it is natural that you're going to feel this way in different situations. The best thing that you can do is put yourself in training scenarios that continue to increase in difficulty, to increase the ability at which you can combat those situations. Will all of these scenarios cover anything you're going to encounter in real life? No. Will it give you the leg up and the ability to be mentally tough to meet those needs? Yes. But the worst thing you can do is continue trying to push those emotions like they're just not real. The thing is, they are real. But what you can do is accept it. Accept, oh crap, this is going down. This is a really bad scenario. What do I do? Now, instead of giving into panic, letting it ruin you, accept it. Okay, this is bad. Okay, what am I going to do about it? That's the biggest thing that you can do. thinking, okay, what am I going to do about this? And give yourself like a 1 second to breathe. Just take a breath. Like, I've been in some pretty bad situations, and all I'm like, I'll just, at the end of it, I'll be like, okay, what do we got to do here? We're pinned down. Okay, what do we got to do? Okay, your training will kick in. Trust your training. And the thing is, people are like, oh, that was, something happens, and it's like, man, you were so courageous, or it must have taken so much courage to get yourself out of that situation. It's like, no, I just wasn't going to give into the situation, and I needed to save myself or save my guys. The outcome is you were courageous. In the moment, you're like, I'm just trying to survive and do it the right way.
So here we are back with how this affects me, right? And I've told you guys, I'm taking defensive classes, I'm taking martial arts, I'm learning, I'm digesting, I'm looking into. Well, today I went to Threat Dynamics in Sherwood. Now, I've told you guys about Threat Dynamics. This place is phenomenal. Unfortunately for you guys, I was not able to record inside. But here's a few videos from Threat Dynamics just to kind of give you guys an understanding of what they do.
Hey, drop the line! Drop the line! Do it now! Hey, show me your hands! Show me your hands!
Well, tonight I actually went in and worked in their 360-degree simulator. Now, this simulator, they can put you in immersive environments. Like, I was in a grocery store, and in this grocery store we had two potential assailants that came in through the door, and the instructor's like, now listen, this is 360 degrees. You're in a situation just like you would be at work. You have to watch these people. You have to see what they do. You have to react. You have to give verbal commands. And if you need to, you pull your weapon and you fire. Now, we're using simunition firearms. You guys have seen those before in some of the videos I've done from Defensive Arts Center, but this was crazy. So the first scenario, two guys come in. I'm focusing on the one guy because he's being a little fidgety with his jacket. And true to form, he pulls his firearm out and he shoots the teller behind the desk, right? So what do? I step off the X, I pull my firearm, I give verbal commands, I put 2 shots center mass, and he falls. And then I get this burst of pain from my back, because when you're doing this 360 simulation, they have you put this belt on, and this belt actually sends like an electric shock if you get shot. So I'm like, shit, what the fuck? I forgot about the second guy. So when you finish the scenario, they actually go back and they play everything on the screen, and there's a clock with a little counter on it, and it shows when, in the scenario you moved, when in the scenario you drew, you took your shot, where your shot placement was. And then it also shows where this guy is like walking around the back side of me, and I'm completely not even thinking about that second guy. The reason why I bring this up is we did maybe 6 different scenarios similar to that, where you're having to react and respond to the things around you. And it's so similar to what we deal with every day in security. Well, just like Marcel was saying, a lot of our anxiety and fear can be mitigated with training. And we talk about this all the time. We've got to get training. We've got to get more training. We've got to go and find training, seek out training. But it can't just be shooting at a paper target, or, you've got to put yourself in these situations where the anxiety and the stress rises, because that anxiety and that stress, it's like a spidey sense for us, right? That's telling us that something potentially bad, dangerous, or deadly could happen to us. And that's a good thing. Marcel said that you gotta lean into that. So many of us are so used to having that response and kind of shying away from it, and that's not what we need to do in our role as a sheepdog. If you're not familiar with the Tim Kennedy reference of being a sheepdog, I want you guys to Google that. I want you guys to look for it here on YouTube. But that is exactly what we've chosen to do. We've chosen to put ourselves in between those people who have no reason for anything to happen to them and the people that are willing to prey on those people. We've chosen to put ourselves right in the middle and be that sheepdog. And as I told you guys, that 29-minute gap before the police showed up, I was the first responder. Now, we were lucky enough today that that guy didn't shoot me and he didn't shoot up anybody else, but he left our location and went to 2 other establishments and made the same threat before the police made contact with him. By the grace of God, he didn't make good on his threat. And by the grace of God, I didn't have to do anything to him to make sure that he didn't make good on that threat. But the lack of response and the gap in the response time should tell you guys how important it is for us, for me, to be trained to respond to whatever happens. I don't know where you guys are located. I don't know how close or how far you are from places like Threat Dynamics, but I cannot tell you enough how important it is to put yourself in situations where you realize and you're consciously aware of how incompetent you are, so that you can take that information to work yourself towards conscious competence. And ultimately, we can all get to that unconscious, competent level where we can protect ourselves, the people around us, and do the best for our companies, our society, and our family. Guys, I am so grateful and so thankful that any one of you take the time to watch or listen to what I'm saying. I'm just a normal person, but I truly appreciate it, and I'm humbled that you've been a part of this so far. And I hope that you continue to do this and continue to learn, but more so that you continue to motivate me. Because if it wasn't for you guys, I don't know that I would be pushing myself this hard. So thank you. Okay? All right, guys, I'm going to head home. I'm going to go and see my family. And I hope you guys are getting some benefit out of this, okay? Be great. Watch your 6.